So we had some mold growing on the back of the bed support on the plywood back there by the head. That's the headboard and the slide. This is a 2019 Grand Design 367 BHS fifth wheel. So this is the front cap. The bed's in here sideways. There's the front with the closet and everything. And I was also having issues with these lights up here. I've heard some of y'all having the same issues. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And also my underneath the slide outside, there's some little blue lights. And every time I'd try to turn those on, it would just blow the fuse inside. So I knew I had a short somewhere, and after reading a few posts and looking it up a little bit, a lot of people said it's probably because these wires in here, with this slide box moving, these wires can get shorted out, and that's exactly what's happening. So if you're having this issue or something like it, you may want to check this out. I figured since I was going to do something about the mold, I'd go ahead and look at this too. And so here we go. Here's the culprit. I'll show you. Let me get down here. So there's where the wires are tied together. You can see all I did was take the plywood off the top of this. They're sitting like that. So there is the culprit. Here's actually the crimper cap that was on them, and even further investigation. I don't know if you can see, but right there in the middle of those wires, there's a chunk of the wood on the box. Here's actually the chunk of wood right there. And what's happening is this box, when this box moves in, when you bring the slide in, that part of the box is hitting that and dragging it with it, and it tore off the crimp cap, and it's just moving those wires back and forth each time that we bring it in and out. Part of that issue is these wheels right here are loose. I hadn't adjusted them yet, but they were kind of turned sideways a little bit, but they're loose. And I'm kind of leaning on the box, but if I get off the box, you can tell. And I need to push those down a little bit and get this box up off the ground a little bit more so the wheels work and they don't drag. But also, what I think I'm going to do, and it should work, is I'm going to take my tool and I'm going to kind of cut a slot right there. I'm going to inspect the other side of this box, of course, but I'm going to cut a slot right there. So just in case these wheels work loose again and the box is kind of dragging the ground, it can clear that right there. So that's my goal, is to cut a little slot right there so it clears those and don't drag on them anymore. So we're going to do that, and I'll let you know how it goes here in a minute. So like I said, we had a little mold issue back here on the headboard. So I've got the plywood off. There's our mattress. Plywood is all out of there. Also, like I said, we were having the wiring issue with it coming undone, and I showed you guys that. So here's my fix for that. I didn't have any, of course, any kind of wiring diagram or anything. I'm not an electrician, so I'll just preface that by, if you're uncomfortable with that, then take it to a dealer or somebody that knows about electricity if you're uneasy messing with it. But anyway, so these three were separate apparently. You can tell this one's a clear crimper that came with it. There was one more crimper laying on the ground, and the rest of the wires were bare right here, kind of all smashed together. When I took it apart and inspected it a little bit, I undid the screw and pulled the zip tie up. It looked like, you know, you had two wires together and two together and two together. So I put them together that way separately. Then we turned our power on to see if everything worked, and the lights, of course, the lights work fine now. They're great. And even my outside lights, which were blowing the fuse, now work again, which hadn't worked in over a year. So we've been having this crimping issue here for over a year. Every time I'd flip that switch, those lights outside would blow the fuse, and I'd have to change the fuse. So we just stopped using them. And then, like I said, every now and then the lights up here would they'd stop working when you pulled the slide out. So anyways, so that's the fix for that. Of course, I gotta adjust the wheels. Another thing I went ahead and did is I drilled a pretty good hole, pretty significant hole. And sorry about the crude work, dealing with some limited tools, but I drilled a hole that way, and we're going to test it. I'm going to bring this slide in, and when this slide, sorry about my shaky camera work too, when the slide comes in, I'm hoping that hole is going to line up with that, and it's going to clear, because that was the issue, is this this box is hitting the floor, so I got to adjust the wheels. But even if that rubs the floor, hopefully I got that hole drilled big enough that it's going to clear this when it comes up and goes right past it. So we're going to check that out. Another thing I did, you could probably notice already, I put a little bit of insulation. That's just some of that reflected insulation roll stuff. It's not going to do much, but I just wanted to lay something down, maybe to keep some of the cool, because, you know, of course, this is your slide out, so that's underneath there is nothing, just a piece of plywood. So there's no insulation in there or anything. I wanted to put just a little bit there. Maybe that'll help. And another thing I did, I want to show y'all while I was here, is I put that vent in right there. So I'll go around the other side. Of course, that's just Luan, so I actually cut it. Again, I'm working with limited tools. I actually cut the Luan here with a utility knife. So I just traced my box out from the inside and carved it out with a utility knife. Popped the hole out, and then I screwed in this vent that actually can shut. You push it in and out, and that way we can get some air flow inside of here and try to keep down on that that moisture issue. So I'll be back in a minute, and we're going to test this, and we're going to show you the other part of this with the plywood. I'm going to drill some vent holes in it and use another product to kind of vent under the mattress instead of the mattress sitting directly on the plywood. And I'll show you that in a minute. So before I get started messing with these wheels, I propped it up a little bit, the whole box. And I kind of wanted to show you these wheels. I don't know if you can see it very good. Let's see. See how loose those wheels are? They have 2 screws in them. There's 3 of these wheels, but once I pick this box up off the floor a little bit, you can tell that that's definitely not holding anything, and the box is eventually just going to sit right on the floor. So I may eventually have to look at getting something better for this that'll hold, but I'm going to put them back on tighter. I haven't loosened these or nothing. This is just, all I did was pick the box up off the ground a little bit, and that's what I got. So that one, and the middle one's not too bad. It's a little better. It's kind of, but I'm going to tighten them up and see if that's going to help some things. So it's definitely not my best work, but I'm tired, and we got it at least fixed. So we made a hole there, as you can see. It doesn't look pretty, I understand. We're about to cover it up with the plywood though, because this is where you put all your under storage under your bed. So all this is covered up. You can see there's the wheels. I tightened those up and adjusted them best I could. We brought the slide back and forth a few times. Everything seems to be working. But what was happening is this wire, both of these wires were just under that wood right there. So when the wheels give way and the bed kind of sinks, the frame sinks to the floor, these wires are getting drug under that wood all the way back and then all the way forward. They're just getting dragged, and it comes all the way up past that right there. So it actually ends up right over here when it's in. So you can't see that at all when the slide is all the way in. So what I decided to do is just make a hole. All this fits underneath there when it slides, when the slide comes in to here, and when it goes back out, that kind of peeks back through the hole, and nothing has to drag underneath this wood. That's really just a false wall between each box. That's nothing structural. It's just some Luan and some 1-bys that's just kind of holding this box to that box. So there's no big deal. There's nothing, like I said, there's nothing really there harming anything for what we did. So it works, and now I'm going to put the plywood back in, and then I'll show you guys what I'm going to do as far as getting the airflow. Again, we did put the vent back over here in the corner, and then I got something else we're going to do for the airflow underneath where the mattress goes and up against that wall, because that's where we were getting the mold, right back in there. So stay tuned. Alright, so we got the plywood back in on the base down here, so you can't see my shoddy work down there anymore. That's gone. But so here's the idea, and I got this off of one of the Facebook pages. So you can take this plastic light, I guess like commercial lights, and it's just this little plastic grating I got at Home Depot, and you can see I drilled some holes. You can see where we killed that mold. Probably ought to just replace this whole sheet of plywood now that I'm thinking about it, but we don't have one at the moment, but we did kill the mold. We hope anyway, but anyways, so we'll probably get a new sheet of plywood before too long. But I drilled some holes. Of course, again, we got the vent over there on that side, so we got some airflow. We got a little bit of insulation underneath there for what it's worth. And we're going to take these and just sit them like that. I'm not even going to attach them. We can do that. And then I got another one to put once we put the stuff back in here and get the plywood that, you know, goes up and down so you can get your storage. And then we got another plastic we're going to put right here. It doesn't cover the whole thing. I could put the other one down right there and snip it so the bed folds up, but we're just going to try this for now and check it out and see how it goes. I'm a little skeptical still, of course, but hey, it's got to be better than the way it was. I think we at least got some airflow, and I fixed my electric problem down in here, which was really for me the main goal, was to do that and then get a little airflow under our mattress so we can give that a shot. We did get a new dehumidifier too, so you definitely want one of those in your camper anyways, to cut down some of the humidity. So that's what we're going to try, and hope this may help somebody. If nothing else, if you have any of those electrical problems in the bedroom for your overhead lights there, that's probably what it is. It's right under there, and that slide moving back and forth is catching that wire somewhere, and hopefully you're as fortunate as we are and it didn't cause any kind of real issues with fire or anything like that. But they were definitely shorting out because it was blowing a fuse. Like I said, it was blowing a fuse when I was turning on the little blue lights outside under this slide out. I just switched that switch on and pop. The fuse would blow every time. So it was definitely shorting out down here. So I'm glad I got that taken care of. And we're going to put this back together. I'm tired. So one last thing that we did here was I put some shims under the box. This is the end of the bed here where the wheels are down all the way across, to kind of take some of that, alleviate that pressure off of the wheels and put the pressure down onto the floor from the box while we're stationary. Of course, we'll have to remember to take these shims out before we bring the slide in, but I think that'll help. I don't know about you guys, but I sit on the end of the bed a lot of the times to put my shoes on and things like that, and I think a lot of that weight transfer down to the box onto those wheels may be causing those wheels to loosen up a little earlier. And I was even thinking maybe getting a 1x strip and tucking under here. Again, whatever you do, you just have to make sure you move it before you bring the slide in when you're on travel day. But just a little tip, maybe to get all the weight off of the wheels, and then you can set the box frame on a 1x or shims like this to the floor, and those wheels won't take all the pressure. And then when you go to move on moving day, you just take these shims out, and then of course the slide will slide in. They'll be sitting on the wheels, and it'll roll in and get to where you're going, set back up, and bring the slide back out, and then put the shims back under there and take that pressure off those wheels. And maybe that'll keep the box off of the ground from dragging, and help out. We're going to try that out anyways for a little while. So thanks for watching the video. See you guys later. Bye.